Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you to another episode of Be Here Now with J France Soul and Reggae Hour. Unfortunately, this is one of the last episodes of this current series, so I just want to take this opportunity to send out a big thank you for everybody that's been featured as a guest on the show so far, and I hope you've enjoyed the interviews and some of the previous shows. Also, big love and respect and thank you for everybody that has tuned in to an episode, and I hope you have been enjoying the show. So what have we got on this show this week? We are looking at a two-tone special. Yes, that's right, people. We are going out on a two-tone special, looking at the era of two-tone, all from late 70s to early 80s. We'll be diving deep into some iconic moments in the two-tone era and looking at some bands that defined that era and that genre and that style of music. So do get yourself a nice little cup of tea, a nice little tipple, and enjoy this episode. And of course, I will always, and so should you, keep on, keeping on.
Like the farmer said to the potato, I go and plant it, I wanna see you later.
Hello there, my lovely people, and welcome to one of the finest music shows out there on the airways. Yes, it is Be Here Now with J France, and this is our two-tone special. So first of all, we're just going to be looking at the word two-tone and the origins of where that comes from. So we're going to go back to 1979 when keyboard player from the Specials, Jerry Dammer, created his record label called Two-Tone. So merging elements of Jamaica ska music and also the attitude of punk rock music as well, bringing that together, and there you're getting yourself two tones. Okay, so obviously the Specials were one of the, when you think of two-tone, you think of the Specials straight away, but also within that label as well, there was other bands such as The Beat, The Selector, and much more. Madness were doing their thing as well over in London as well, very much a similar sound to the Specials as well, which originate from small little Coventry as well, of all places. So very much a working class movement, and as a working class lad myself, that I can really relate to the two-tone element to the music as well. It was the first time where black musicians and white musicians were coming together in the same band to merge those two genres of music together to create something uniquely their own. So we're going to start with a few of those artists talking about the two-tone era, and also we're going to be listening to, of course, we're going to kick it off with the Specials, Ghost Town. So enjoy that, people, and I'll see you on the other side. Stay true, stay real.
Instead of awkward attempts to mix rock and reggae, there was about to be a new sound. The energy of punk brilliantly fused with reggae's faster ancestor, ska.
I'm going out tonight. I don't know if I'll be alright. Everyone wants to hurt me. Oh, baby, they're jealousy.
The Specials and Two-Tone were born in Coventry because that's where Jerry Dammers lived, harbouring a vision.
They emphasise the offbeat like that. Then started slowing down, you got sort of reggae. Everyone wants you to behave in the way they expect you to behave, but we just do what we want, We're not going to live out other people's fantasies.
Why must you
Gangsters was the first two-tone single, launching a new look, a mix and match of clothes once worn by skinheads, mods and rude boys, and with it a new ska punk sound.
It wasn't until the specials that you actually had a black and white band taking that basic ska sound and giving it a harder rock edge and just making the lyrics all about the way we were living and stuff. It just seemed absolutely right, and it really took off very, very fast.
I felt that Coventry was some kind of multicultural haven, perhaps, you know. I've never really been there before, but to me, I felt like, oh, maybe Coventry's the place where black and white do unite, you know, where all this cool music is coming from.
You kind of thought, hang on a second, okay, it's, you know, it's black and white suddenly. It is black kids, white kids. It is the first time, I think, probably that I'd seen that.
Two-tone had a strong graphic image, black and white checks, bold, clear typography, and the figure called Walt Jabsco, drawn by Jerry Dammers as the archetypal rude boy.
Better think of your future. Time you straighten right out, creating problems in town. Rudy, a message to you, Rudy, a message to you.
I remember going out and buying a black and white suit and getting dressed, you know, and putting on it was a black and white skirt and jacket, and I had a white shirt on and a really thin black tie, and I had white tights on and black shoes and a pork pie hat. And I remember going and just thinking, wow.
That's it. You put your pork pie out on and you were there. You were part of the gang, and of course the mohair suits and that, yeah.
It was the figure of the rude boy that made it attractive, the figure of the rude boy, and not the figure of the Rasta, not the figure of the Rastafari. In some way, they were trying to get away from that. I think it was the figure of the rude boy that had a different glamour, a different cool, a different style, all of that, which made it very much more attractive to a larger, you know, and largely working class white British audience.
Sorry to butt in like this, but your spotlight could be at risk. There is a few organisations that seem to be, I wouldn't say that they're deliberately doing it, but they're certainly, by way of their old-fashioned means, are putting channels like Spotlight, Information TV, Talking Pictures probably, all of your favourite channels that are away from the mainstream media, they're being put at risk. Have a little visit to this website, going across the bottom of the screen now as I speak. This is something that's been set up by myself and Phil with a view to getting things changed, we hope. Have a look at the website, become a member. That means you will get a newsletter. You're not going to get bombarded, but we'll keep you up to date as to what's actually going on. It's brand new, so bear with us. It's just sort of being developed, but you'll get some idea of what we're trying to achieve. And there's lots of information on there about whose cage you can rattle. On with the show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our two-tone special, and I hope you've been enjoying the show so far. One of the bands that defined the two-tone movement was The Selector, fronted by singer Pauline Black, fronted a diverse range of musicians within the band and styles as well, really kind of merging into that two-tone thing as well, and was one of their first bands that they really pushed on the label. So one of their most successful songs was a song called On My Radio, and apparently that the band didn't really want to put this out as a single because they thought it sounded too much like a Eurovision entry. But the record label overrid that and put it out anyway, and in some ways was proven right because it went on to be one of their most successful songs, reaching number 8 in the UK charts and stayed there for 9 weeks as well. So enjoy this one. This is The Selector, On My Radio.
The Selector had been the title of an instrumental B-side for the special's first single. Now a band called The Selector was quickly put together, with Pauline Black as singer.
The specials offered us a gig, I think at the F Club in Leeds, and we turned up and Elvis Costello was there, because he was going to mix their first album. And I remember being terribly impressed by that until he trod on my foot at the bar, and I thought, and didn't apologise. And yeah, I mean, it was good.
Okay, ladies and gents, welcome back. And who's next on the bill in our two-tone special? Yes, we have the band The Beat. So The Beats, one of their biggest singles, reaching number 4 in the UK charts, was Mirror in the Bathroom. Now, according to singer Dave Wakeling, the way that this song came about was he was working on a construction site at the time, and he'd had too many drinks the night before, woke up really early in the morning, went into the bathroom, looked into the mirror and started saying to himself, Dave, you done it again, ain't you, mate? You done it again. He's got a banging hangover, and what you doing to yourself? Why do we keep doing this? And as he turned round, he realised that the latch was on the bathroom. So he's thinking, what if I put the latch on in the bathroom? and he's just chatting to himself, having this dialogue with himself about having a bit of an hangover. So then he got ready for work, and then got on his motorbike, and then went to the construction site. But as he was driving on his motorbike, he started to reflect on the nature of narcissism, talking to yourself and stuff like that. So then wrote the song Mirror in the Bathroom, which I do think is a great concept for a song as well, and a great little story of how that came about. So this one goes out to all you narcissists out there, and have a little boogie for this one in your bathrooms. This is The Beat, Mirror in the Bathroom.
Now, let's go into the bathroom and see the mirror and the beat.
Yourself while you are eating. Mirror in the bathroom. Mirror in the bathroom. Mirror in the bathroom.
I'm Amy, welcome to Timer's Rum Bar. It's our opening night. I hope everyone has a great night.
Hey, this is the Savoy Sounds, the greatest sound around.
Well, I'll take you to a place I know, way uptown where the whole place is jumping. So leave your problems at the door. Go grab a drink and find your place on the dance floor. Sweet, sweet Jamaican ska got me dancing up all night, dancing until I'm old.
Up downstairs as well, sold out as well for opening night. And people are trying the cocktails out and they're trying the food out, so it's good food, good drinks, good vibes, yeah?
It sounds like, and the DJ Glenn Wilcox is playing some nice tunes. So yeah, I can't believe I looked at Pete's watch a minute ago. I'm like, it's half an hour before we're due to go on.
Okay,
25 minutes.
I brought my guitar with me as well,
God, really?
just
Great.
in case it all goes, just in case.
Really have to, why would you do that for? Why would you do that for?
Why would you even say that?
It's not your night. It's not your night.
Have you got a bed ready for me tonight as well? Have you got
here we go.
Have you got somewhere I can stay?
I feel like apprehensive, excited, strange, surreal, but you know, there's enough people here making me feel comfortable. But yeah, it's always going to be surreal.
But if you do see that rainbow as you're flowing down the river, sunny days will always follow you. Hey.
Okay, let's keep this moving. And who have we got up next? Yes, this is the original Fat Man. It is Buster Bloodvessel from the band Bad Manners, a larger-than-life character and a band with so much energy on stage. I've been lucky enough to share the stage with Bad Manners a few times now with my band, The Jewelers, and they've always put on an amazing show. They're such a hard-working band, and one of their songs that they play in their set that always gets the crowd going nuts is a song called Lip Up Fatty, reaching number 15 in the UK music charts. And apparently this song was written where Buster at school, people used to like call him fat and stuff like that. So basically it was his way of saying shut up. All right, so it's his way of telling him to shut up and lip up fatty. So shut up and have a little listen to this tune now. This is Bad Manners with Lip Up Fatty. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we can't have a two-tone reggae and ska show without featuring those nutty North London lads that go by the name of Madness. But originally, they didn't go by that name. Madness were originally called the North London Invaders, then changing their name to Morris and the Miners, eventually settling on the band name Madness, named after their favourite Prince Buster song, Madness. It was a great influence on them and their musical hero. In the words of Michael Caine, not a lot of people know that, but you do now. Okay, so Madness went on to have great success and still do now, with the lead singer Suggs bringing his own charisma and his London style, merging up the Jamaica and ska thing as well. Really do fit into that two-tone ethos as well. So we're going to be looking at their first ever single, which was released in 1979, that peaked at number 15 in the charts. And this was written in tribute to Prince Buster. So, rest in peace, Prince Buster, and long live Suggs. This one is Madness, the Prince.
Buster, he sold the heat with a rock steady beat.
The Hope and Anchor, possibly the most important place we came to as youngsters, because it was the best live music venue in the area that we were living in, and where I first saw the Specials. I remember seeing an article about the Specials in Melody Maker and being really shocked immediately by how similar they looked in dress to the way we were dressing at that time, which was unusual, to be wearing suits and hats and all that. And then secondly, when I was reading the article, they seemed to be doing exactly the same kind of music that we were doing, and we felt we were completely in our own world down here, because this was literally the epicenter of me and about 15 people who had started our own, completely own thing, which involved playing ska and reggae and R&B, I mean 60s R&B and all that. And then suddenly an advertisement appeared here in one of the posters that the Specials were performing. And it really was an epiphanal moment. And I remember when the Specials arrived, we were all sort of, it was all a little bit, who are you, mate, and all that. And then the jukebox was the kind of, the catalyst for our first conversation. And, it really is a very clear memory, of meeting them and just realising something was suddenly going on. And then they performed downstairs, probably one of the best gigs I ever saw, certainly one of the most important for me and for the rest of the band, and completely informed us in terms of performance pretty much from there onwards. It was like Neville letting off his gun, people punching holes in the ceiling, and that energy that they had. It's funny, it's like a bit like going back to primary school. You can't actually imagine how popular music concerts could take place in such a small space. But this is where it really happened, yeah. That'd be the drummer and the drum kit there. That'd be better. That's about there, actually. Got 6 other people. Sort of like that, basically. Oi! And after the show, I got talking to Jerry, who came back and stayed at my mum's flat. And it was there that he announced that he was going to start a record label called Two Tone.
With a rock steady beat.
Specials, The Selector and Madness went out together on the first two-tone tour. The three bands rendezvoused late one night at an M1 service station.
We met the rest of the two-tone tour at the Blue Ball services. We got our own little bus up to meet them. By the time we got there were loads of coppers and there was chaos all over the streets. And rightly or wrongly, I think Lee Thompson, our saxophone player, Neville Staples and Brad all got nicked for something or other.
Buster, he sold the heat.
I can almost see that it was because this mixture of kids, a lot of black, white kids, it all seemed a bit sort of dangerous, which is what it was, really. For the coppers, you know, I could imagine now, looking back in those grey, black and white old days. But yeah, it sort of added to the whole excitement and bonding process of us setting off on this tour. The tour started off, we were playing quite small venues, and poor old Rick Rogers, the specials manager, was like stopping at every phone box, pre-mobile phones, trying to get bigger venues because they were being, you know, bum-rushed, as I think the current vernacular.
You're done too much too young. You're married with a kid when you could be having fun with me.
Many in the two-tone audiences didn't fit into other musical tribes. Now they had their own.
There were clones of the specials in the audience, and as we did more gigs, then I began to see girls who were clones of me in the audience with a red Harrington on, you know, and a trilby hat.
You know, you got to know loads of them, you know, huge sort of whirlpool of disparate youth sort of found it what they were looking for, and I don't think at the time we realised that at all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and I really do hope you've been enjoying the show so far, and also you've enjoyed the whole of this series. As I said earlier, this is one of the last episodes of this series, but if you do want to stay in touch for updates of what I'll be doing next, you can find me on my social media pages. I'm on Facebook at J France Guitar. That's my music page. You can also find our Facebook page at Be Here Now with J France. Also, I'm on Instagram at JF Guitar. And finally, check out our YouTube channel for exclusive behind-the-scenes footage called Be Here Now with J France, with interviews, music, vlogs, and much more. Okay, so let's continue with the show. And we're now going to be looking at an era that influenced the two-tone era just slightly before in the 70s with the new wave punk scene that was going on in Britain and also in America with bands such as the Ramones. You had the Damned, the Sex Pistols, of course, and a band that I would like to concentrate on is The Clash. That took all the ethos of the two-tone thing as well, with Jamaica ska music, as well with the punk attitude and the rock, and merged that all together. Joe Strummer is a personal hero of mine, an amazing frontman, an amazing songwriter, and a really creative band. What a band The Clash really was. Now, the song we're going to be looking at is London Calling. So London Calling was written on the perspective of Joe Strummer flicking through the newspaper one day, and he was looking at all the ways, they were telling him basically in the newspaper all the ways that the world could come to an end. The coming of the Ice Age, starvation, war, and all these things he put in the song. He got the song title from the BBC World Service that used to be in World War II, which we used to say, "This is London Calling." So a really creative way to put all that together to write a classic song, which is London Calling. So this is J France Calling here at Be Here Now with J France. Enjoy this one. This is London Calling. We live, I live by the river.
A lot of our stuff was written overlooking the Westway, because we were up in the flats where I lived with my grandmother, and we used to just look out, and it was very high up. It was on the 18th floor, so we could see all of the area, you know, and also underneath the Westway, someone had sprayed the Clash on one of the pillars that held up the Westway, and it seemed to mark out our area.
The train's been stopped, and down below on the Portobello Road, there's swirling chaos and looting.
When the Clash really first started, I was about 17, and really it was a strange period because, I mean, you can walk down Portobello and you can hear a bit of reggae out the speaker over here, and then over here they're playing Latin music, or further down there's rockabilly. It's quite strange if you stand in the middle and hear all these influences all at the same time.
The influence that was really to affect the Clash was reggae.
Police and thieves in the street.
The Roxy, I don't know, it held about 2,000 people, and obviously they were all punks. And I was the DJ, and I lived in a house with about 4 or 5 other Rasta guys. When I got the job, they all laughed at me. Ha, Don Litz is going to work with those crazy punk rockers. And the funny thing was, it was so early in the days of punk rock that there weren't actually any punk records to play at that time. So I had to play something that I liked, primarily, and that happened to be my first love, which was reggae. And it seemed that the punk rockers could relate to it, I guess because it was the only rebellious sound around at the time.
All the crimes committed day by day. No one tried to stop it in any way.
We were in two minds whether to cover another record, because we had enough ammunition of our own, but we just sort of liked the inclusion of that reggae feel.
When we played reggae, it was like, with the guitar was quite heavy, you know, it wasn't doing that skank, it was like kind of punk guitar on it. And we weren't trying to play reggae, so we were trying to just do our thing. And like much of the way the 60s bands used to cover contemporary R&B classics, we covered what was the latest record from Jamaica. It happened to be Police and Thieves. It all kind of fit in with what was going on at the time, you know. Some of the guys from the Clash were in the riots.
Thing. The ice age is coming, the sun's zooming in. Meltdown expected, the wheat is going thin. Engines stop running, but I have no fear, cause London is drowning. I live by the river, to the imitation zone. Forget it, brother, you can go it alone. London calling to the zombies of death. Quit holding out.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, rude boys and you rude girls, unfortunately we have come to the end of this episode, and sadly we have come to the end of this current series here at Be Here Now with Jay France Soul and Reggae Hour. I just want to take this opportunity to thank every last one of you that have tuned in to an episode, and I really do hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed making it as well. We may have some special one-off episodes dropping soon with some special guests within the music industry, so please do check out our social media pages for all updates on that. So, and I hope you've been enjoying this two-tone special. So we're going to leave you now with a song. We're going to go full circle right back to where we first started from with the band The Specials. Now, this song was written by keyboard player Jerry Dammers again when they was on tour, and they was touring France. Now, the way that this song came about is basically they was on tour in France, and another English band trashed a hotel room, causing loads of damage. And apparently it was the Specials that got the blame for it, but it wasn't them that actually done it. Apparently the rumours are that it was perhaps the Damned that did it, but what do I know? I wasn't there. So the police got involved, an incident occurred, and it all kicked off. So this song was also written and inspired by Prince Buster's 1964 song, Al Capone. So again, going full circle with the madness that we were talking about earlier that was inspired by Prince Buster, and the Specials proving that how much of an influence they was. So this song was released in 1979, and it actually reached number 6 in the UK charts, beating the likes of Earth, Wind and Fire and a lot more. So really proving what the two-tone was here, and it was doing its thing. So I'm going to leave you with this one. This is The Specials, and the song is called Gangsters. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep real, stay young, keep on, keeping on.
Like the farmer said to the potato,